My father stood at the head of the dinner table, tapped his glass, and said, "2 men in this house are in love with my son's wife, and one of them shares my last name." He'd texted the family an hour earlier. "Dinner, tonight, everyone. This isn't a request." My father doesn't do drama, so I left work, picked up my wife Mara, and drove over with a knot already forming in my chest. By the time we arrived, everyone was crammed into the dining room. My uncle Theo, my younger brother Sam, my mother, 2 cousins, and the dog asleep under the table. We sat. My father waited until the room went quiet, then said it again, slower, so no one could pretend they'd misheard. "Dad," I said, "what are you talking about? This is insane." He didn't raise his voice. That was the worst part. He pulled a folded napkin from his pocket, smoothed it on the table, and looked at my uncle. "Theo, you've been calling Mara when you think no one's watching. I saw the call log on your wife's phone." Theo's face drained of color. He opened his mouth, closed it, then said quietly, "It's not what you think." But he didn't say it wasn't true. That's when my stomach dropped. He wasn't denying it. He was just stunned he'd been caught. Then my brother Sam set down his fork. "Fine, I'll say it. I think about her too. I'm not proud of it." I turned to him so fast my neck cracked. "Sam, she's my wife." He stared at his plate. I know. I'm sorry." I stood up and grabbed Mara's hand. "We're done here. We're leaving." But she didn't move. She gently slid her hand out of mine and said, "Wait." She stood, and she didn't look angry. She looked tired. She turned to the whole table. "You want to know why they talk to me?" she said. "Because nobody else in this family does." She looked at Theo. "Your wife corrects you in front of everyone. She calls you slow. I've watched her do it at every holiday for 6 years." She looked at Sam. "You came to us last winter because you had nowhere else to go, and this family told you to toughen up." Her voice didn't shake. "I made them coffee. I asked how they were. That's it. That's the whole crime." The room was dead silent. "They don't love me," she said. "They're starving, and you're all sitting here acting like I baked them a spell." She turned to me, and her eyes softened. "I never crossed a line. Not once. I just refused to treat them like they were invisible. And the awful thing was, I believed her." Mara had always been the kind of person who remembered your dog's name and your mother's surgery date. It wasn't seduction. It was attention. In a family that handed out attention like it cost money. I'd watched her do the same thing to strangers at the grocery store. It was never about anyone in particular. It was just who she was, and somehow that had become the most dangerous thing in the room. I looked at my uncle, who couldn't meet my eyes. I looked at my brother, who was crying into his napkin. And then I looked at my father, who had called this whole thing into existence. "Why now?" I asked him. "Why do this in front of everyone?" He folded the napkin again, very precisely. "Because 30 years ago," he said, "I felt the same way about your mother's sister, and nobody stopped me." My mother's wine glass froze halfway to her mouth. "I never touched her," he added, too fast, "but I wanted to, and I've spent 3 decades watching for it in everyone else because I never forgave myself." The table exploded. My mother stood up shouting. My aunt, the one he'd just named, burst into tears. Theo started yelling that this was a witch hunt. Sam quietly left through the back door. Mara picked up her coat, took my hand, and led me out to the car. We sat in the driveway listening to the muffled chaos through the windows. "You okay?" she asked. "No," I said. Then after a second, "Were you ever going to tell me your phone was blowing up?" She looked at me. "Some of it, yeah." She started the car, but not at that table.